Hi, welcome to How to Triathlon. So in this video, we will finally set up the crank arm on the bike. And I have Ultegra R18 8100. So this is the front crank arm to be used with the trail speed crankset. And I'm just going to apply some grease over here. I'm just using the standard like Park Tool high performance grease. Just apply them somewhat liberally here. And you can see that the nuts is still attached on the end, so I'll just use this Park Tool to remove this nuts at the end. And I'm just kind of going to spread this grease around the crank arm. Okay, now I'm just going to push this through. Problem that I have is that once the crank is fully in, it's really rubbing against this protective sticker that is on the bike. As you can see here, like, just let me zoom in here. It's like super tight. You can see that it's just really it's rubbing in once I tighten up the crank arm. You can hear some sound already. So I have to figure out a way to, let me loosen up this part. I already tried to polish a little bit, file a little bit, but it looks like I really have to like trim down or even remove at least the tip, like this part, so that it will stop rubbing the inner gear on the crank arm. So I use a rotary tool to trim this down like quite a bit. Let me back out. So I'm probably denting tiny bit of my frame in the process. This part I should have just put some tape on before I do this. But as you can see, it's trimmed down quite a bit. And hopefully when I put the crank arm back on now, it's going to it's going to work a little bit better, so we'll see. Oh yeah, oh, it's way better. You can see there's no sound at all. There used to be this scraping sound, right? And just to show you the clearance here now, you can see that between the inner crank arm, which is like over here, right? And also there's basically no rubbing at all. There used to be just kind of rubbing against this inner ring, and now it's all gone. All right, so I should be able to connect this up on the other side and finish this up. Okay, so now I'm just going to push through the crank arm over there. Oh yeah, this is nice. And I'm just going to put the nuts back on. And for the nuts, basically like this is just 4 Newton meters, so not really tightening it too much, but just enough to make sure that the arms are still flowing freely. And also, you know, now I can set the remember the locking plate here. Let me just take it out again. Right, so now I'm going to set this back in. and when it clips in, it basically means that the crank arm is inserted deep enough. Just going to turn this a tiny bit more. So this BBinfinite bottom bracket is pretty nice. Right, so I'm just maybe just loosen up a tiny bit. Or actually, let me see how tight I can go. Cause so if I'm too tight, it's actually still pretty good. But if it's too tight, you'll basically, yeah, I really feel like this is probably more than enough. Like you don't want it to be too tight, but you also don't want it to be way too loose. But yeah, this is pretty nice. Okay, I'm just going to tighten up a tiny bit, maybe a quarter turn here. I already feel like it's less, maybe just like this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Okay, now I'm going to tighten up these two nuts. And they are supposed to go in at 12 to 14 Newton meters, but first I'm just going to, like this wrench can only go up to 8. So I just use this wrench to tighten it up enough, and then I will use my bigger torque wrench to put this in. And the idea is you kind of wanted to do it both ways. Right, good. So just go and tighten it up to 8 Newton meter here. This actually doesn't matter because I'm going to use the bigger torque wrench to finish this up. So just want to make sure it still flows freely. Okay. All right, this is nice. You have to see if this works or not. Because of I only have a big torque wrench, so I have this gigantic contraption of stuff that I use to lock this in. Okay, so this is good, and I'm going to use this guy too to make sure I'm not overdoing it. So, okay, so I'm setting this up to 13. This is great, and then I'm just going to lock this in. Going to do it on the other side as well. I'll make sure I'm balanced. Okay. That's good. I'm going to tighten this up on the other end, and then I'm all set. Good. So, all right. So this is all set. And flowing very nicely. Pretty happy with this, and glad that I can trim off that part to make a big difference, because it was making all this rubbing sound initially, and now it's all gone. It's just quiet. And also let me show you how this is working out on the other end. Right. Perfect. So now the next step is to get the front derailleur and the rear derailleur installed.